From the heart of South Asia to the crossroads of Central Asia, from the turbulent Middle East and North Africa to the power corridors of the West, where perspectives collide, narratives matter, and stories connect. This is Beyond Borders. I am Omar Khalid, but in the hour that will follow, we'll try to decipher and understand stories that connect the world in a world that we will decipher without boundaries and borders. We will begin with the top stories of the day, or as we call them, region lines. We start from South Asia, where Turkish Grand National Assembly Speaker Numan Kurtulmuş says Turkey and Pakistan are two states of one nation. In recent years, the relations between the two governments have enhanced remarkably. Also, the government of Pakistan and the Afghan Taliban regime mutually agreed to a temporary ceasefire for the next 48 hours at the request of the Taliban. In a statement, Pakistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says during the ceasefire, both sides will make sincere efforts to find a positive solution to the complex but solvable issue through constructive dialogue. In South Asia, Pakistan has slammed the Indian military leadership's irresponsible statements, calling them parroting, delusional, fabricated and provocative propaganda under immense political pressure ahead of elections in Bihar and West Bengal, as it does before every state election in India. In the run-up to the elections in Bihar and West Bengal, India's lies are being fed to the public, and the international audience have turned the Indian military machine into a laughingstock. Moving on to the Middle East, the Israeli army continues sporadic attacks on Palestinians despite the ceasefire, killing at least 9 people in Gaza. Israel has also imposed new restrictions on aid entering the besieged Gaza Strip and says it will not open the Rafah crossing as planned. While in the West, US President Donald Trump threatens trade penalties, including tariffs against Spain, saying he is unhappy with its refusal to raise defense spending to 5% and calls the move disrespectful to NATO. Lastly, Central Asia is steadily establishing itself as a key transit hub in Eurasia. According to the Eurasian Development Bank, the volume of transit cargo traffic through the region has grown by 70% between 2020 and 2024. We'll begin with South Asia, and of course our leading story on South Asia concerns the relations between Pakistan and Turkey. As Pakistan and Turkey continue to deepen their multi-dimensional, multi-sectoral relationship and collaboration, we managed to talk to the Speaker of the Grand National Assembly of Turkey, Mr. Numan Kurtulmuş, whose presence recently here in Pakistan also served as a reaffirmation of the enduring brotherhood and shared aspirations that both the nations feel for each other. From strategic cooperation to humanitarian solidarity and joint efforts for peace across the Muslim world, the dialogue reflects a vision rooted in mutual respect, trust, and a collective pursuit of more than just and peaceful peace order. We'll begin with this exclusive interview that I conducted very recently with the Speaker of the Grand Assembly of Turkey, Mr. Numan Kurtulmuş. Pakistan and Turkey share a time-tested, deep-rooted relationship. This relationship has been seen many a times in the last few decades and continues to exemplify itself through the strong connections and relationship as well as bilateral collaboration between both Pakistan and Turkey. As both Pakistan and Turkey navigate around geopolitical dynamics, we have the privilege of having with us the Speaker of the Grand National Assembly of Turkey, His Excellency Mr. Numan Kurtulmuş, who is going to discuss with us during the course of this tete-a-tete or one-on-one interview the different pivotal moments of strong relations between our countries, underscoring parliamentary diplomacy, regional solidarity, and the joint pursuit of peace in the Muslim world, particularly in Gaza and other crisis zones. Thank you very much, Honorable Excellency, to have given us the time. My first question regards the role of the Turkish parliament in shaping Turkey's foreign policy, whether it be in regards to regional conflicts and or diplomatic alliances. How do you see Turkey's role and the role of the Turkish parliament?
Şimdi öncelikle ben de sizin vasıtanızla...
First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my greetings and warm regards to all our brothers and sisters in Pakistan. It is a great pleasure to be here in this friendly and brotherly country. Turkey, both in terms of its geopolitical position and its place in global politics, is a country that maintains relations with almost every region of the world. It is represented in almost all international assemblies and has the opportunity to share its perspectives with the international community through these platforms. Within this framework, Turkey's memberships in NATO, OAC, Parliamentary Assembly, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the G20, and the Turkpa, among others, allow it to play a highly active role in parliamentary diplomacy, and we strive to make the best possible use of these opportunities. Moreover, we continue our efforts through friendship groups and multilateral international committees. Let me give you an example. Due to the genocide that has been going on in Gaza for the past 2 years, the Grand National Assembly of Turkey has, at almost every major turning point or critical incident during this period, came together in unity across all political parties, either by signing joint statements as parliamentary groups or by approving motions submitted by the Speaker's office to the Assembly. When it comes to Gaza diplomacy, both as the Speaker and through the various committees of the Parliament, we have distinguished ourselves by maintaining one of the strongest and most outspoken positions. In this regard, Turkey is one of the countries that make the most effective use of all the tools of parliamentary diplomacy.
En iyi şekilde kullanmaya çalışan ülkelerden birisidir.
With regards to Gaza, Turkey has been very vocal in condemning the violence and advocating its solidarity with the people of Palestine. In your opinion, what are the concrete parliamentary or diplomatic initiatives that Turkey should take in order to support Gaza? For example, in the reconstruction, now that the peace process is moving forward, human rights monitoring or mediation.
Demin de ifade etmeye çalıştım aslında.
As I mentioned earlier, Turkey has attached vital importance to Gaza diplomacy throughout this process. For example, President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, has addressed the Grand National Assembly in the early days of the massacre in Gaza during a ceremony attended by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Furthermore, we signed declarations on international platforms expressing our solidarity with the people of Gaza. As a most concrete step, in April last year, between the 15th and 18th of April, we hosted in Istanbul the meeting of Group of Parliaments in support of Palestine, of which Pakistan is a founding member. Hopefully, this year in 2026, the next meeting of this group again will be held in Istanbul, this time with the participation of more countries. And we plan to continue making significant use of this group of parliaments in support of Palestine as an important instrument of parliamentary diplomacy in advancing the Palestinian cause in the years ahead.
Destekleyen parlamentolar grubunu çok ciddi şekilde bundan istifade edeceğiz.
Beyond Gaza, beyond Syria, what are the regional issues you believe Turkey as well as the broader Muslim world should address most urgently? For example, the dynamics in Libya, the Caucasus or the Red Sea, and how, in your point of view, should Turkey's parliamentary diplomacy respond to these important challenges?
Şimdi karşı karşıya kaldığımız bu saydıklarımız
The many crises, conflicts, and tensions you have mentioned, and even the ones that you have not, are in fact reflections of the broader tensions within the global system. The world today is facing a profound problem of systemic disorder or lack of an order. The balance of power established after the World War II no longer exists. As a result, new areas of conflict emerge everywhere. As you mentioned, Pakistan finds itself having to respond to conflicts and pressures imposed upon by India. Major challenges are unfolding in Libya. The tragedy continues in Gaza. The Russia-Ukraine crisis is ongoing, and the region around Turkey also faces numerous other problems. To address these challenges, it is evident that there is a pressing need for a new global system. In other words, Gaza has shown us that the United Nations can no longer secure peace neither in Gaza nor in the Russia-Ukraine war. The current architecture of the United Nations must therefore be reformed. In terms of parliamentary diplomacy, the responsibility that falls upon all parliaments is to develop policies and ideas for building a new international order. From the perspective of our countries, the greatest challenge facing the Islamic world is its failure to unite, lack of cohesion, and its limited capacity to tackle issues collectively and effectively. This crisis has revealed itself that Israel's strength does not merely come from its military or financial power or its control of global media or the influence of Jewish lobbies. Its greatest strength, the Israel's and Zionism's strength, lies in the disunity, fragmentation, and lack of will within the Islamic world. As Muslim nations, our population is approaching 2.5 billion, and the presence across the most strategic regions of the world from Morocco to Indonesia, our foremost duty is to secure unity, solidarity, and coherence. If such unity were achieved, could anyone dare to act against a Muslim country? Therefore, two key responsibilities lie before us. First, to develop ideas, policies, and alliances for building a just and balanced global order, and second, to strengthen the unity and solidarity of the Islamic world. Both are historic responsibilities that we must embrace with determination.
üzerimize düşen tarihi bir sorumluluktur.
Let's come to the relationship between Pakistan and Turkey. Now, these ties have historically been strong. There have been so many examples where both the countries have backed each other in the good and the bad times. These relations are underpinned by religious, by cultural and strategic affinities. In your point of view, where is the room for further improvement, for further strengthening of this collaboration, cooperation between Pakistan and Turkey? Also, from the perspective of the Turkish parliament, how can members of the parliament of the institution themselves also deepen the engagement with Pakistan or the Pakistani parliament, for example, through the exchange of delegations or through different delegation level visits like you yourself, sir, are here, or study visits or joint legislative initiatives or parliamentary forums? What are the avenues you feel would be important for both the parliaments to strengthen each other's collaboration and also understand each other better?
Öncelikle ifade ettiğiniz gibi tarihi, kültürel anlamda çok derin bir
As you mentioned before, our nations share a profound bond of brotherhood, kinship even, one that runs deep historically and culturally, extended even to kinship. We know well how, during the time of the Caliphate, the people of Pakistan supported Turkey's independence movement, how Pakistan stood with Turkey during the Cyprus peace operation, and most recently how the people, government, and the state of Pakistan stood by us following the devastating earthquake in 2023. The relations between Turkey and Pakistan is truly one of heart-to-heart sincerity. And Turkey and Pakistan are like two states of a single nation. and nothing sets us apart. In recent years, especially between the two governments, relations have developed and advanced remarkably, reaching an excellent level. The term enhanced strategic partnership no longer suffices to describe it. We believe that our parliament must also take the lead in this excellent relationship. Allah willing, we will continue to strengthen and expand our already close parliamentary relations, as there are many opportunities for friendship groups and specialized committees to work together. In today's meetings with my esteemed brother Mr. Ayaz, we have also discussed this matter, and if all goes well, we will take significant steps here to further advance into parliamentary cooperation. As you know, cooperation between Turkey and Pakistan has been growing across many fields, and one of the most important of these is the defense industry. There is also great potential for partnership in the energy sector. Moreover, we mutually see substantial opportunities for collaboration in the fields of education and culture. However, despite this vast potential, we have not yet fully utilized it.
Potansiyellerimizin olduğunu görüyoruz. Henüz bu kadar büyük potansiyelimize rağmen bundan tam manasıyla istifade etmiş değil.
Let's come to the trilateral mechanism for which, Honorable Speaker, you were here in Islamabad. This mechanism that was formed by Turkey, by Azerbaijan and by Pakistan includes the 2024 as well as 2025 summits and joint statements on structural collaboration between the three states. This has attracted a lot of attention regionally and globally as well. In your assessment, what could be or what is the added value of this trilateral format compared to bilateral relations, and what are the tangible outcomes do you feel or hope to see over the next 2 to 3 years through this forum?
Bu hem Pakistan hem Azerbaycan hem Türkiye
Pakistan, Azerbaijan, and Turkey are all centrally positioned along the east-west development axis. And it is in our shared interest that all three countries preserve their stability and strengthen this trilateral mechanism. Today marks the third of such meetings after Baku and then Istanbul. We have now convened in Islamabad. These meetings have been extremely fruitful. I believe that if we continue to strengthen parliamentary relations, we will achieve very concrete results on the ground. For example, as you know, there is the Development Road project in Iraq. And this project does not concern Iraq alone. By linking it to energy lines coming from the east, it could connect Iraq's energy network to the middle corridor through Pakistan, Azerbaijan, and also to Turkey. This would create significant momentum, not only for the three countries involved, but also for the wider region. So this is a trilateral mechanism with very concrete results we're talking about. As long as we do our part and work diligently, the outcomes will follow.
Güçlü bir şekilde çalışalım, sonucu alırız.
All right. Honorable Speaker, as a Speaker of the Grand Turkish Assembly, you hold a unique advantage, when it comes to legislative diplomacy or interparliamentary engagement. This is something I feel is extremely important in this day and age when democracy becomes extremely pertinent to handle different crises. How do you think that the Turkish parliament can contribute to A, public diplomacy in Muslim majority areas? My second is parliamentary mechanism for overseeing foreign policies, crisis mediation, for instance, through parliamentary channels, and I think this is a very important channel that could be effectively used. Has parliamentary diplomacy, in your point of view, made a concrete difference when it comes to bilateral or multilateral issues in the past?
Tabii şimdi yani parlamenter diplomasi bildiğiniz gibi
Today, as you know, parliamentary diplomacy has become one of the most important instruments in international relations. Government-to-government relations are certainly important, they matter, but parliaments, as the heart of democracies and the center of national will bring together diverse voices and political parties to reach shared positions. In essence, strengthening parliamentary diplomacy also means activating people-to-people channels, what you call public diplomacy. For instance, when a meeting is held where members from many different political parties in the Turkish parliament come together with their counterparts from the Pakistani parliament, it allows for more than just official government positions to be conveyed. It also offers a chance to express how the citizens who elected them view certain issues, to explain those perspectives and to engage in discussions that reflect the views of both nations' peoples. So that this is a unique strength and advantage of parliaments, and it must be used effectively. We need to transform these interactions into international platforms where, alongside official government positions, the perspectives of different political parties, ruling and opposition alike, can be openly discussed.
Farklı partilerin görüşlerinin de tartışıldığı uluslararası mekanizmalar haline bu ilişkileri getirmemiz lazım.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker Numan Kurtulmuş, to have given us the time, to have given us this exclusive interview. I feel, as a Pakistani who has immense respect, love for the Turkish people, it gives me the opportunity to further enhance that avenue of regard that I have for the Turkish people through this interview. And I'm sure that this is a feeling that is reciprocated in all its essence and spirit. I hope and I sincerely wish, Excellency, that in the coming weeks, months and years, that Turkey and Pakistan will continue to foster, strengthen this brotherhood, this relationship that exists since decades, and through avenues such as yours, such as that of the Grand Turkish Parliament, and through your personal efforts, we'll inshallah get to see in the coming months and years also more avenues for not only collaboration between the two countries in different spheres, but also between our parliaments. Thank you very much again, sir, to have given us the time. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this very exclusive one-on-one interview with the Honorable Speaker of the Turkish Grand Assembly, His Excellency Numan Kurtulmuş. Thank you very much again, and may Pakistan-Turkey friendship, love, respect continue to prosper in the years to come. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Zindabad Pakistan, Zindabad Türkiye.
That was an exclusive interview that you were just watching, that we recorded very, very recently. And now moving on to very important stories that are also developing in the region in South Asia is, of course, the border tension with Afghanistan. Now, we all know the background of this tension. We also know what has recently happened. We also know how Pakistan has shown its military might and has shown the Afghan Taliban government that it cannot mess with the Pakistani government, with the Pakistani people, and with the Pakistani territory. Now, the recent, of course, announcement concerns the 48-hour ceasefire on the request of Afghan Taliban regime following these talks between the government of Pakistan and the Taliban authorities. This has begun from 6 p.m. today and will continue for the next 2 days as well. And in this time, both sides will make sincere efforts through constructive dialogue to find a positive resolution to this complex but solvable issue. Let's see how important is the intention of the Afghan Taliban when it comes to finding a solution to this issue that has mostly been created by themselves. We've been joined by two guests. Let me introduce them to you one by one. On my very right in the studios with us is Air Commodore retired Basit Raza. Basit Saab is a senior analyst. Thank you very much, Basit Saab, to have joined us.
Thank you for inviting.
We'll also be joined online by a senior analyst, Zahir Sherazi, and as soon as we do, we'll of course continue our conversation with him as well. We'll begin with you, Basit Saab. Pakistani security forces' successful defense against the Taliban against the Afghan Taliban, against the Khawarij and their attacks in Spin Boldak and other areas. How do all of this highlight the country's enhanced border vigilance and counter-terror readiness? Do you feel that the Afghan Taliban or those elements that are harbored by them thought that they could get away with it?
I think so, they thought so, because for some time it was like that. They would attack, there have been 600 attacks this year, and the last month there have been very furious attacks. We lost a lot of our security personnel, and Pakistan always sort of exercised caution and restraint. We kept telling them that please don't do that, because we want to have very friendly relationship with Afghanistan. Afghanistan, we have since last 4 decades, ever since the Russian intervention in Afghanistan, we are shoulder to shoulder, we have been shoulder to shoulder with them. Truckloads of our young people went there and fought in the jihad of Afghanistan. And their graves are unmarked, but they are all over Afghanistan. They have forgotten all that. And when the things ran out of control and the refugees spilled over, we opened our hearts and homes for them.
Agreed.
And 4 million refugees, we sort of opened everything for them. There was nothing restricted. They could go anywhere.
But you know, this is what I fail to understand, Basit Saab. We have given them the respect, we gave them the love, we gave them the land, we gave them the opportunities for decades. How do they pay us back?
This is what beguiles me, because what has poisoned their minds to turn 360? And from Pakistan, they could have gone to another country, but not to India. They went, the first opportunity they got to get out, they went to India. So what are the designs? What are they thinking? What kind of poison has gone into their veins? But I hope, let's be optimistic, Pakistan has actually shown them that what could be, but we don't want it to sort of continue.
You know, the fact is the fact is, Basit Saab, we've seen the aggression coming from the Afghan Taliban side. Time and time again in these last few days. We've seen the aggressive statements that have come from the Afghan Taliban regime as well, and very contradictory statements.
True.
One coming from Amir Muttaqi, a very contradictory statement coming from Zabiullah Mujahid, you know, and then interference in Pakistan's internal affairs, which no country will allow, whether it be Pakistan or whether it be any other country. Then, of course, the claims of Pakistan initiated aggression that have now been refuted by fact checking. How likely and how important is not only the exposure of what the Afghan Taliban side has been doing to malign Pakistan, and isn't this a chapter from the Indian book of maligning Pakistan as well?
Surely, it is that, because what is India? India is the greatest sponsor of terrorism. The state terrorism, they have did terrorist activities in America, in Canada, UK, and Pakistan has been a very prime target for them. So when they've decided to sit with them, I'm sure this has not happened in a day. There must have been exchange of ideas, and the planning must have been done, that what you have to do and what we have to do. So when Amir Muttaqi went there, India upgraded their sort of a mission in Kabul to embassy level. They sort of offered them a lot of aid and things like that, and other sweeteners. And their intent is very common. Your enemy is my enemy's enemy is my friend. So, but I think, I still hope that the lesson has been actually instilled in their mind.
Okay.
I hope so. And that's why they requested for a ceasefire. But I'm optimistic and cautious. I'm circumspect as well, because on Monday also, there was a ceasefire. They announced that, okay, now the hostilities are stopped. But again, last night what happened, we all know that. So I hope this 48-hour ceasefire leads to a meaningful dialogue with good intentions, because it is the intent which matters. Because they have committed, the Afghan Taliban have committed in Doha that they will sort of not let their soil be used for terrorist
but you know,
activities.
this agreement
this
in
is
Doha
history.
seems to be completely negated by the Afghan Taliban
True.
as we speak, and not since now. And you know that very well, Basit Saab. This is not since now, since quite a number of months, to say the least. And the number of times that Pakistan has gone to the Afghan side to, you know, tell them to look at what they are doing and to change their modus operandi, but you know, it has all fallen on deaf ears, unfortunately. Zahir Sherazi Saab also joins us online. Thank you very much. He's a senior analyst. Zahir Sherazi Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Zahir Saab, I fail to understand all these attacks by the Afghan Taliban. I mean, I can go on and on how they instigated different forms of you know, attack on Pakistani territories and you know, civilian adjacent areas, the Friendship Gate. Isn't there a deliberate disregard for peace, trade and regional stability through maneuvers such as this? What is the ultimate end game?
Well, I think the Afghan Taliban, who are at present being imposed by the US-led coalition and the international community, perhaps they are misdirected. And the reason obviously is the recent Moscow format, where they were categorically communicated by Russia, China, Pakistan and Iran that it has to take care of the militant groups in the form of BLA, band, TTP, ISK, as well as other militant groups which are operating from its soil, and they are threatening the Central Asian republics as well as China, Iran and Pakistan. But I think the response was very cold-shouldered. On the other hand, if we see what the Kabul administration is doing, yes, there was a mistrust always between Pakistan and the Kabul administration in the past, as well as Ashraf Ghani and Hamid Karzai. But this time, the Taliban had gone extra mile to test Pakistan's nerves by colluding with India. So this is a red line for Pakistan. And I think they had been communicating to the rest of the world on misdirected narrative and a false narrative. Realistically, I think India would not be of any help to them, not even in terms of trade and economic activities. But yes, India would need the western border to connive against Pakistan, carry out proxy wars in the form of supporting financially as well as physically the militant groups in the form of Fitna al-Khawarij and this Fitna al-Hindustan. Secondly, they would need the western border, obviously, for spying activities, having their forward surveillance bases against Pakistan. So this is what they can do. But on the other hand, I think Iran is also now very, scary of what had been done during Israeli-Iranian conflict. About 65 Afghan residents, refugees who had been spying for Ra and Mossad, they had been, eliminated. They have been, given capital punishment. At least 200 to 300 are still in the jail and they are being tried. So I think the idea of going through Chabahar and linking up the Middle Eastern countries for a business activity, that is not feasible even. But now what the Taliban are likely to get, I think the Taliban group, they are not ruling all over Afghanistan. This is the major point we have to discuss. They are in conflict with the Sirajuddin Haqqani group. They are in conflict with Gulbuddin Hikmatyar. They don't have in their ranks the Northern Alliance Mujahideen leaders like Rasul Sayaf, even Ahmad Zia Masood, a number of others like Rashid Dostum. They are not part of their government. So they are also very annoyed with them. Now what has left? Even the Kandahar Taliban, they are stubborn toward Pakistan. They don't have any soft corner for a number of reasons. But actually the reality is they cannot survive without Pakistan. This is a reality. The present conflict, I think it has more to do with a kind of a political stunt or a survival stunt for the Afghan Taliban. What they have threatened Pakistan sitting in Delhi, I think it is not acceptable. And the second thing, I think Pakistan had been warning them. India also taken on, in loop while they were discussing it in Moscow format, that India should not also be using this western border against Pakistan. So the message was very clear. Now what should be done? I think Pakistan should still not be negotiating with Kabul directly. We have Saudi Arabia, we have Qatar, we have the UAE, who are like the guarantors, the kind of guarantors for the Doha Agreement. And now Pakistan-Saudi Defense Pact, I think it also calls for a very, a strong response by the Saudi government. They should, force the Taliban administration in Kabul, who are very close to the Saudis, as well as Qatar. So this is the time. And then Chinese role would be very important. I think China and the Central Asian republics, they are the direct neighbors of Afghanistan, apart from Iran and Pakistan. So I think they can force them to a very constructive kind of a policy, not showing any hostilities toward Pakistan, Iran, and the regional countries. And the last thing, I think the situation which Afghanistan is now, I think it is a serious threat to the regional security. And obviously, if this policy continues, I fear that there will be no Mullah Hibatullah Akhundzada's rule in Kabul. I think it is going towards an end.
All right. Thank you very much, Zahir Sherazi, to have joined us and to have discussed these latest developments as far as the Afghan Taliban's deliberate, violent maneuvering towards Pakistan and maligning Pakistan and then using disinformation and misinformation for false claims is concerned. Again, taking an example from the Indian book of disinformation and misinformation, for which it has become infamous. And now, of course, the Afghan Taliban joins the rank as well. Let's hope better sense prevails. That's all we can hope and wish for. Also in South Asia, in India, a lot of jingoistic statements have been coming off late since the recent conflict between Pakistan and India. Pakistan won 7-0, and then India apparently or non-apparently has been unable to digest this fact. This has been made quite apparent in the way the Indian media has been highlighting its so-called successes against Pakistan, and also the Indian generals and the Air Force chiefs that have been claiming off late that Pakistan has lost and they have shot down X or Y number of planes. Looks like a script from a Bollywood movie, exactly what the ISP also recently said in a statement. We continue to be joined by Air Commodore Basit Raza Abbasi Sahab to discuss this as well. Basit Sahab, the Indian military's repeated election season propaganda, because of course the elections are very near in Bihar and another state as well, and the ISPR's assertion that India is the epicenter, quote unquote, of regional stability. Nothing new there, nothing that even the layman doesn't understand in Pakistan. Will concrete steps, what kind of concrete steps, in your point of view, will Islamabad take diplomatically and militarily to ensure that such jingoism does not translate into renewed cross-border adventurism, as we've seen recently as well?
Militarily, Pakistan is doing whatever is possible. Our forces are on alert and they will remain on alert, because as India has already declared before this recent outburst of their narrative, that Operation Sindoor has not stopped, it has only been paused. So nobody knows when that pause will lift. But my own experience and my own reading is that India will not make the mistake of a kinetic action against Pakistan, because
Once
armed
bitten,
forces,
twice shy?
yes, because when armed forces get comprehensive beating once, their morale is so down that it takes a lot of time to rebuild it. And so I don't think they would dare to it. And number two, the world has not bought their narrative. Previously, whenever such incidents took place, the world bought their narrative, not this time. And the result is that the military debacle on one side for India, they have lost the face world over. He didn't go to, Modi didn't go to General Assembly session, he didn't go to the ASEAN meeting, and he's missing from the Sharm
And
el-Sheikh.
today they deny the fact that they were the ones who went to the US to plead for a ceasefire. And the number of times, I even have stopped counting the number of times Donald Trump has highlighted the fact that they came to him and he was the one who initiated this ceasefire between India and Pakistan. You know, they are in denial mode. They are in that ostrich mode that has, stuck its head inside the mud and doesn't want to come out and face the reality of things.
Two times that Modi won the election, it won on the same basis, spreading hatred, and hatred mostly against Muslims in general and Pakistan in particular. and the narrative was bought by their Hindu population at least, and that's why he had a success and then a more better success. But this time, I think the opposition voices have gathered momentum, especially after the defeat that they got from Pakistan. So actually, that has strengthened the opposition, who were actually had gone on the back burner because of a very successful narrative played by the Modi government and their cohorts.
And now they are on the forefront. That is a very interesting example, and let's see what happens as far as these upcoming elections are concerned with this jingoistic maneuvering or statements by the Modi government and their forces leaders change the narrative, or have people in India actually understood what the Indian government really stands for now. Now it's time, of course, to move to the Middle East and North Africa. "739 days since the Gaza conflict began. The peace deal in place. Despite this, Israel continues to harbor its violent agenda towards the Palestinians. Again, Palestinians have been killed in Gaza. Again, Palestinians are being arrested in the West Bank. Again, there is an issue as far as the aid reaching the people in Palestine is concerned." Basit Abbasi, of course, continues to join us. Basit Saab, this whole peace deal, this implementation that was agreed upon by the Israeli side, and of course US President Donald Trump was the mediator. Why is not Israel, abiding by it? Why does it continue to kill? Why does it continue to maim? Why does it continue to deny aid to the people in Palestine?
Israel's record is, they are living up to their record, their reputation. They agree to something and then they step out of it. This time, actually, they were forced by no one but their main backer, United States, to sort of accept this deal. And otherwise, their extreme right coalition government, they wanted to destroy Gaza. They didn't want to leave a brick intact there. And that was their program. And they were successfully following that program because there was no resistance, not within Gaza, not from outside. So there was no check on them. Now that they have been sort of forced by circumstances to sort of accept this deal, which is not totally to their liking, although it's to their advantage. Everything is to their advantage. But still they are not happy because they wanted complete destruction of Gaza and complete evacuation of Palestinians from there. So that has not happened. That has been sort of prevented. And now the question is that who would ensure that the terms of the deal are implemented? I think the main person is American president, because he is the main architect of this deal. The points were given, the 20-point plan was given by him. And with amendments from the bigger countries, Pakistan also gave its input, but ultimately the signatories are Turkey, Egypt and Qatar. So the responsibility largely lies on them to sort of speak out whenever there is a sort of violation of deal. I don't say that except other than these, rest should be keep quiet. No, there should be hue and cry. All the diplomatic channels have to be sort of activated to let the protest reach the Washington, that they are the ones who initiated the deals, and the Muslim countries agreed that okay, we accept this, but this has to be followed in letter and spirit. And whenever there is a deviation, the signatory countries have to shout.
So let's see now that we are seeing exactly what is happening in the West Bank and Gaza, whether those guarantors will step up and do the needful and stop Israel from doing what it is doing, what it has been doing since decades. Let's not talk even about 7th of October 2020. Let's even go beyond in the decades. Thank you very much, Basit Abbasi Sahab, to have stayed with us throughout the program. 2 more minutes till I end the show, sir. Let's take you now, ladies and gentlemen, to the West. As far as the West is concerned, there are 2 important stories. The first concerns Donald Trump, who has threatened tariffs on Spain. Why? Because Spain refuses to boost NATO defense spending. This is what Donald Trump has been saying, that he wanted all the NATO member countries to boost their defense spending. He says the US spends too much, contributes too much to the NATO, and this this expense has to be shared now by other NATO member countries as well. Now, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez had secured a last-minute exemption in the past, and he said that it compensated for the lower spending with strong troop contributions to NATO missions, including deployments in different countries. But Donald Trump isn't having it. He says, increase your spending as far as NATO is concerned, or else I will impose increased tariffs as far as Spain is concerned. Maybe Spain will comply. Let's see. Last story, ladies and gentlemen, concerns the West. No, it concerns Central Asia, rather, ladies and gentlemen. Our last region in beyond borders, and that is Central Asia establishing itself as a key transit hub in Eurasia, and that is not we who are saying it, that is the Eurasian Development Bank that says it. It says the volume of transit cargo traffic through the region is going to grow by 70%, yes 70% between 2020 and 2024, and it says that the landlocked region has proven that it can become a hub for Eurasian logistics thanks to its advantageous geographic location and active investment in infrastructure. So good news as far as Central Asia is concerned, and wish our Central Asian brothers all the very best for the future and more collaboration with Pakistan as well in the coming years as well. With that, we come to an end of today's Beyond Borders. It has been an interesting experience, as has always been, from the interview of the Speaker of the Turkish Grand Assembly to, of course, the issues that confront the world. We bring you a world that does not have boundaries or borders, and stories that matter to you in this changing world. Till next time, Allah Hafiz.